Africa has four major river systems on the continent. There's the Nile, the Niger, there's the Congo River, and there's the Zambezi River. Little geography lesson. And they're not rivers, they're systems of rivers. Hundreds of tributaries coming together. So the Nile we're familiar with, the Niger we're familiar a little with, the Niger River in West Africa, the Congo River, which is probably the least developed in Congo, biggest jungles and all the rest, and that's where a lot of the rebels are. And then the Zambezi is where we were, the Zambezi River in the southern part. There's a part, the Zambezi goes to the Indian Ocean, the Congo River goes to the Atlantic Ocean. That's thousands of miles apart, right? Especially as you go by, as the river goes. There are some farms in northern Zambia that on one side, when the water drains off the farm into the channels they dig and then they go into the rivers, goes into the Zambezi system, and the other side of the farm goes into the Congo system. They're on the same farm. The water on the farm, they do have sprinklers, they do have good groundwater in parts of, so they can pull it up, they can sprinkle, so they can grow these things. And so you see these huge sprinklers going, and when it drains off, one drains to the north, the other drains to the south, same farm. After that water goes through all those tributaries, some of it ends up in the Atlantic, and some of it ends up in the Indian Ocean. Now you go, but we all started at the same farm, and we ended up 1,000 or 1,500 miles apart, because one was heading this way, and one was heading this way. You come to church, and you go, boy, we're all together in this one, but let me tell you, you can come and you can all sit here, and some are facing this way, and some are facing this way, and at the end of the day, sitting here meant nothing because you're 1,500 miles apart. Our task is to follow Jesus Christ, not just to come to church, not just to be on the farm, but to follow our Lord Jesus Christ. And in so doing, he has gifted us for two reasons. One is so that we can share in the common good of other believers, and so we can take those who are not believers and point them back to the Lord. Pretty simple, isn't it? Just a little triangle. God blesses me, I bless other believers, I bless those who don't believe by giving them the word. Pretty simple, that's all you got to do. It's not very difficult. Or you could sit in church, grab it all, get fed, enjoy, fellowship, and you end up kind of going the other direction. And at the end of the day, you're miles apart. My prayer is that each of us in this room would go in the same direction. Not with the same gifting. I don't want us all to have the same gifts. But in our gifting, we're sharing with others, and we're sharing with people who don't know the Lord about the Lord. Now you say, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. Well, I tell you, I would disagree. I think you do know how to do it. But there is a fear in doing it. We are afraid to do it. Now, you don't need to do it by opening up the book of Romans or opening up something. You can do it in very simple ways. And I've watched people do it who have no theological background bring people to the Lord. Why? Because God's the one who saves, not your knowledge. Your knowledge is not going to save anybody. It might help argue, but you're not saving.